In the land where vast open plains kissed the horizon and the sun breathed life into the rugged landscape, a breed of men emerged, embodying the spirit of untamed freedom. They were the cowboys of the Wild West, the embodiment of resilience and adventure. Clad in weathered leather, their hands calloused from endless days of wrangling cattle, these solitary riders commanded their trusty steeds across a canvas painted with towering mesas and roaring prairies. With grit in their hearts and an unwavering determination, they danced with danger, forever chasing the elusive dream of the frontier. In their world, where the echoes of gunshots were harmonized by the symphony of hooves, legends were born, and some of them were untamable. Hello there, welcome back to History in Minutes. Today, we'll be going back to the sandy landscapes of the Wild West to grasp why they couldn't catch history's sanguineous gunslinger. Wild Bill Hickok. Wild Bill Hickok, originally known as James Butler Hickok, was not always known for his wild ways. Born on May 27, 1837, in Illinois, he grew up on a farm where he honed his shooting skills. However, at the age of 18, after a brawl with another man, he decided to leave Illinois behind. Seeking adventure, Bill ventured to Kansas and joined a group that served as a makeshift law enforcement agency in the territory. Although he would later adopt the moniker Wild Bill, it is interesting to note that before this, he was actually nicknamed Duck Bill due to his prominent nose. Hickok was an American pioneer, scout, and law enforcement officer who played a significant role in establishing order in the untamed western frontier. His skills as a gunfighter earned him a legendary status, with numerous tales and stories surrounding his life. He became one of the iconic figures of the Wild West, captivating the imagination of people through the dime novels of the late 1800s and early 1900s. His exploits and adventures became part of a cherished narrative of the era, further cementing his place as one of the early heroes of the West. Early life. Hickok's family immigrated from England to Massachusetts in 1635 and later moved to various locations in Vermont, Maine, and Illinois. Their small farm in Illinois served as a stop on the Underground Railroad. At the age of 17, Hickok left home and worked as a canal boat pilot before heading west to Bleeding, Kansas in 1856, where he joined the anti-slavery Free State Army and became a bodyguard for General James H. Lanes. During this time, Hickok intervened to protect an 11-year-old boy from an abusive man, who would later become his lifelong friend, Buffalo Bill Cody. In 1858, Hickok earned the position of a constable in Monticello, Kansas, due to his reputation for fairness and courage. He later became a teamster for Russell, Majors, and Waddell, the creators of the Pony Express. Despite being too tall and heavy to be a rider, Hickok's encounter with a bear blocking a road became legendary, as he managed to kill the bear after a fierce struggle. This incident left Hickok bedridden for months, before he eventually went to southern Nebraska in 1861 to work at the Pony Express station at Rock Creek. The McCandless Shootout. The shootout that took place at Rock Creek on July 12, 1861, contributed significantly to Hickok's legendary status, although different versions of the event do exist. During this time, Hickok was still known as Duck Bill due to his distinctive facial features. It is believed that David McCandless, the previous manager of Rock Creek Station, may have given him this mocking nickname. McCandless had sold the buildings to Russell, Majors, and Waddell on credit and had reportedly ridiculed Hickok during his recovery from a previous injury. The first detailed account of the incident was published in Harper's New Monthly magazine in 1867, written by Colonel George Ward Nichols, who claimed to have heard the story directly from Hickok in 1865. According to this version, Hickok, while leading Union cavalry through southern Nebraska, Hickok stopped at the Rock Creek Station to visit an old friend, Wellman's wife. She warned Hickok that a Confederate gang led by McCandless was pursuing him, and soon after, they were attacked. In Harper's account, McCandless entered the cabin and attempted to shoot Hickok, but Hickok reacted swiftly and shot McCandless in the chest. Allegedly, Hickok then executed 5 more gang members and incapacitated another before engaging in hand-to-hand combat with 3 remaining members, ultimately prevailing with his knife skills. Nichols' rendition of the Rock Creek Shootout, published in Harper's, captured the public's fascination and instantly transformed Hickok into a legendary figure. inspiring dime novels that sensationalized his gunfighting skills. However, later historians have presented a different interpretation of the events, challenging the previously established narrative. According to this alternative account, the shootout did not occur inside the Wellman's cabin, but took place within the Rock Creek station itself. Additionally, it is now believed that Hickok was not the sole offender, and he had assistance during the confrontation. The revised version suggests that McCandless arrived at the station accompanied by his son, Monroe, his cousin, James Woods, and James Gordon, who served him. Russell, Majors, and Waddell had failed to meet their payment obligations for the station, leading McCandless to come demanding his money from Wellman. However, Wellman asserted that he did not possess the funds, and he refused to surrender the property, a stance supported by his wife. As tensions escalated, McCandless entered the station, and from behind a dividing curtain, either Hickok or Wellman shot him. In the ensuing chaos, Hickok shot Woods, who historians generally agree was then attacked and ultimately met his demise by Mrs. Wellman stepping in with a hoe. Hickok pursued Gordon, causing him injury, but someone else, possibly Doc Brinks, another Pony Express employee, fatally shot him. Both Hickok and Brinks were charged with murder, but were ultimately acquitted. The trial only allowed testimony from station employees, and McCandless' son was prohibited from testifying. The verdict determined that the men had acted in self-defense. Following the incident, speculation arose regarding whether romantic rivalry played a role, as Hickok had allegedly been involved with a woman who had also been associated with the married McCandless. Soldier, scout, lawman, and legend. Hickok earned the moniker Wild Bill, possibly for his fearless actions during the Civil War, serving as a spy, a scout, and a sharpshooter for the Union Army. He continued his adventurous lifestyle after the war, sometimes skirting the line of legality. In a famous shootout in Springfield, Missouri, on July 21, 1865, David Tutt, a renowned gunfighter who had been flaunting a watch won from Hickok in a poker game, perished in the latter's hands. He was arrested and tried for murder, but was ultimately acquitted. This incident added to his reputation as a gunslinger, especially after journalist Sir Henry Morton Stanley reported, though exaggerated, that Hickok had claimed to have executed 100 men. In subsequent years, Hickok guided military figures such as General William T. Sherman, General Winfield Scott Hancock, and Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer on their tours of the West. He became a favorite of Custer and his wife, admired for his striking physical appearance, described as tall, agile, with long locks, fine features, and a fashionable dressing style. In 1869, Hickok became the sheriff of Hays City, Kansas, where he engaged in several shootouts, and later took on the role of marshal in Abilene, Kansas. However, an accidental shooting resulting in the death of his deputy led to his dismissal. Hickok then ventured into acting in Wild West shows, joining Buffalo Bill Cody's The Scouts of the Prairie in 1873. Despite earning income from the show, Hickok became unhappy, developed heavy drinking habits, and returned to the West in March 1874. His last years. In the year 1876, in Cheyenne, Wyoming Territory, Hickok tied the knot with Agnes Lake Thatcher, a former performer in the circus. However, their honeymoon in Cincinnati didn't last long, as Hickok soon embarked on a journey to the goldfields of the Black Hills in the Dakota Territory. His goal was to accumulate enough wealth to bring his wife over. Accompanied by a wagon train, which interestingly included the enigmatic Martha Jane Cannery, famously known as Calamity Jane, Hickok made his way to Deadwood, South Dakota. Deadwood was a bustling town filled with miners, gunmen, and gamblers. In this chaotic setting, Hickok assumed the role of a peace officer in 1876. His reputation preceded him, but his once sharp shooting skills had diminished due to his failing eyesight. It was on August 2, 1876, during a poker game in a saloon that tragedy struck. Unusually, Hickok had his back to the door, leaving him vulnerable. Jack McCall seized the opportunity and shot him in the back of the head. There are suspicions that McCall may have been hired to carry out the execution. McCall stood trial but shockingly managed to evade a murder conviction. He claimed the act was in retaliation for Hickok allegedly murdering his brother in Abilene. However, McCall's boasting of the heinous act eventually caught up with him. He was retried, found guilty, and met his demise in the gallows on March 1, 1877. The cards Hickok held in his hand when he was tragically shot and killed have forever become known as the infamous Dead Man's Hand. It consisted of 2 black aces, 2 black eights, and an unknown 5th card. This ends today's video. If you've learned something new, don't forget to like and subscribe for more history in minutes.